As I look upon my life, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams. As I look upon my life, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dream.
Good morning, everybody. Greetings. This is a beautiful Thursday morning, a summer's day. So hence we are actually so thrilled and so happy this morning. I have a little bit of mixed feelings today because the topic that we're actually discussing is very close to my heart. And so I have a very mixed emotions, because things happen in this world. So this morning we want to just say hi to everybody. If you have your mirror, you know how it goes, right? So you are on Talk with Joan Thursdays, and that is with none other than our co-host Violet De Beer, and then we have in the studio someone professional. This topic actually requires someone professional. When things happen, you need someone to actually explain to us and empower us what is happening out in the world today. So we actually are so happy to have you with us this morning. So if you are tuned in this morning, we just want to say hi. Hope you're having a good morning. So I'm going to ask my guest. We have our attorney Diane in the studio, and we have my co-host Violet De Beer in the studio. So I'm going to ask Diane just to greet you all. And then we're going to start. Our topic for today is very interesting, guys. Realities of GBV and domestic violence. And this thing happens every single day. It happens. So we want to actually stress GBV. What is GBV? We're going to explain to you what is GBV, what is domestic violence, and how do you go about, when you are in a situation like this. So we're going to try and just delve into it. If you have any questions, please feel free to chat with us on the YouTube, the Inside Show. Chat with us, so we will, if we can, if our attorney is able to answer the questions. If not, we will answer it as we come back right on one of the shows again. We will come back and just answer your question if we can't answer it. But I'm sure we will be able to answer it because nothing is too hard, right? So
Indeed, sir.
So we're going to ask Diane just to say hi to you guys, introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? What is your firm's name? And so on and so on. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much for this privilege. I must say it is an honor for being on this particular platform. I would like to say good morning to everyone. I am passionate, as you are, to speak on this very important topic that affects us all, every day, all day. I am, in fact, an attorney in sole practice. I basically practice for own account, meaning, I am basically the attorney that runs the practice. I also have staff, but very important to me is the fact that I come from the community of El Dorado Park.
Wow, awesome.
Wonderful.
I still practice. I have satellite offices in El Dorado Park because I'm close to my community. In addition thereto, I also have offices in Norwood as well as Sandton quite recently.
Yeah.
I am pleased to report that we are not affected by load shedding.
Wow.
So we have now strategically set ourselves, in a position to now not have to complain about, not being able to do X, Y, Z because of load shedding.
Yes.
So that is obviously a privilege, but also, it's just favor, the favor of the Lord.
Amen.
Oh, yes.
Now, I am a very diverse attorney. I do family law.
Yes.
That is why I often have to encounter this very specific topic, which is gender-based violence, which is also, the topic of discussion today. Yeah. So I have a vast experience and understanding into, the challenges that we all face as a person. I do family law. I do maintenance matters. I'm often in the domestic violence court. In addition thereto, I also do criminal law, which is fantastic because there's a criminal aspect to family relations.
Yes, right.
Unfortunately so. Yes, I also do a lot of disciplinary work. I am on the panel of Boxing South Africa, as well as the Premier Soccer League. So when anybody steps out of line, I'm there to put you back.
Box them back.
On the right track, yes.
Yay.
So I'm passionate. I'm passionate about law and
wonderful.
deceased estates. There's a lot of issues, right?
Right.
Among siblings over inheritances.
Yes.
So that is what I specialize in as well.
Wow.
Over, there's obviously a lot of other things, but yeah.
Wonderful. So so local is lekker, right?
Yeah.
Local is lekker. So we have a local person from the United States of El Dorado with us. Yeah. So we are tuned, guys. I'm so excited for this topic, and then also you see that this topic actually requires a professional. Hence, we have Diane Peters in the studio with us. And we want to say welcome,
Yes.
we know we're going to have an
Privileged to have you,
awesome hour
Yes.
on the show here today. And
I'm
before we go
excited.
any further, let Violet say hi to you guys.
Oh, everyone, I just want to say good morning. I am so, I can't say excited, but enthusiastic about, the fact that we are actually addressing this very sensitive, very needed, serious topic, that we are, making time for it, because it is something that is really, really very needed in our society. So I just want to say good morning, and I don't want to waste any more time. I'm happy to be on the show with you, Diane. We're looking forward to having a very fruitful discussion this morning, and we trust that our listeners will be able to learn this morning, will be, just empowered and be informed, by the conversation. Thanks, Joan, for having me on the show again.
Ow, 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 ow.
It's nice being with you. I don't get tired of her.
I can imagine. No, for sure.
Oh, that's in a nutshell, guys. So let us delve a little bit. If you have your mirror, you know how it goes, right? I'm sure I see our regulars are online at the moment, and there's also one of Diane's fans on here. One of Diane's
Nice.
can I say customers or whatever?
Clients, what?
One of our clients, is
wow.
also online.
Welcome.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
So we just want to say, yes, guys, we are in it
Yes.
to win it.
Yes.
Man.
We've got this.
We've
Yeah.
got it. We've got it.
Oh, yes.
So yes, this is an empowerment session, guys.
Yes.
So just empower yourself with
Absolutely.
what you're gonna learn today,
Yes.
right? So if you have your mirror, you know how it goes. The question for today, if you take out your mirror and you look into that mirror, so there's someone looking back at you, right? So that same girlfriend or boyfriend looking back at you, I want to ask the question, how do you react, when someone lies about you? What is your reaction? Come on, act it out in that mirror right now. When someone lies about you,
Oh my word!
how do you react?
That's a very
And don't
tricky
swear,
one.
don't swear, guys.
That's,
You are saved, right? You are in Christ. So
You're
come
born.
on, you're born again, so no swearing, right? And I know sometimes those Greek words comes out, right?
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
we're just human.
In the olden days, they said you trek your parkeerbytjie uit. You take off that parkeerbytjie, in that moment. But, yeah.
Yeah, no, so my reaction actually is, I just go, ja, as ek net die ou kan, yes, Sy mos iets aandoen man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stop lying about me.
Right,
Yes.
right.
See, how can you lie like that?
Yeah.
That's my reaction when
Right.
someone lies about
Yeah.
me. And sometimes it feels that you can become physical, right?
Right.
And you feel like, how can you lie, man?
Yeah,
Stop lying. You say that. And my face tells the story. My entire face will tell you, jy praat nou. Ek nou nie sê nie.
Oh gosh.
Absolute amazing acting abilities there.
Yes. You know, Joan, up until a while ago, my first reaction is to get, emotional, get upset.
Okay.
And then,
So you cry.
I man, ek kan mos nie vir alles sê hulle. But yeah, I cry. Yeah, but sometimes
Sometimes
you
you do,
cry out
yeah.
of anger and frustration.
Yeah.
Because you cannot believe that people can be.
Yes, especially if you were good to the people, man.
Yes, man. As you know, think in, we come a long way or this or that. Yeah, your first instinct would be to get upset.
Yeah.
I must be honest.
Yeah.
If you look in the mirror and you feel indignated and you feel, wow, I can't believe this person said ABC, this and that about me.
Yeah.
But of recent, okay, but I don't know if I should give no, let me leave the solution. Because somebody taught me something about a bubble. And maybe she'll mention the bubble.
Okay.
And she's with me, so maybe she'll talk about the bubble, yeah.
Yeah.
So, in this day and age, we can't just grab people, ne? Maar
Ja,
kyk
nou,
hier
jy
in jou
can't.
kop en jy gryp, jy
Ja,
sê
nou,
ook,
jy voel-
man, ek sal jou dit gedoen het en hy
Ja.
gedoen het, but ja.
Man, ek sal jou iemand wys.
Ooh, ek sal jou man
Yay.
technical color sien, Ek kom my color uit in ons. Yeah, but
Yes,
anyways,
true,
let's leave that. Let's save that because it's bietjie versigtig vir die
Yeah.
attorney wat jy
Let's see how the attorney will act, guys. Let's see how the
Yes,
attorney, because she knows when people are lying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And sometimes, I don't know if it's, but a lot of lawyers have to lie on behalf of their clients.
Yes,
right?
that's another thing, eh?
That's another thing.
All I can say is that unfortunately, we as attorneys are not allowed to lie.
Is it?
Okay.
Maybe there are people out there that are doing it, but at the end of the day, it's an ethical profession.
Right.
So it's all about actually figuring out along the way what is actually the truth.
Yeah.
Because you've got two versions,
Yes.
and then you have the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
One
right.
might be correct, other one might
Yeah.
be correct, or
Yeah.
we obviously ultimately have to determine
So
what
how
the
do
true
you
state
act?
of affairs.
How do you act,
do you act?
when someone lies about you?
Okay, must I be funny a little bit?
Yeah.
I listen, and I'm like, and then what happened next? And then I'm thinking in my head like, papa wag vir jou. And then it's like, the legal side comes out to
Yeah.
know exactly, how you
Yeah.
need to react in a
Yeah.
situation. Because we as attorneys always have to be in right standing with
Right.
the law.
Yes.
And so forth. So there's so much more of a burden on us, placed
Yeah.
on us in the sense that we always have to act in the right way.
Yeah.
Right.
Biblically correct, legally correct, and so forth, because everybody's looking at us.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're saying, for example, if you are going through that particular situation, and tomorrow you have to speak to women, etc.
Yeah.
What are they going to say? Oh no, she just doesn't believe, that you need to take a remedial action, etc.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is always so that you have to keep yourself in line with the law because people are looking at you.
Yes.
Okay.
Same
okay,
like, a
okay.
pastoral role,
Yeah,
or,
absolutely so.
you
Same,
need to
yeah.
always,
Yes.
be at your best, the
Not
best
always
of character.
possible, but yes.
It's difficult indeed
yes,
so.
Yeah.
So I think, to answer the question, I would say that everybody's going to say something about you. You don't always have to believe what the next person is saying.
Right.
You know,
Know your
take it
own
with a
truth.
pinch
Yes.
of
Of
salt.
salt,
Yeah.
absolutely, because you know who you are.
Right.
Indeed
Right.
so.
Yeah.
You
So
know the
before we
truth.
go, guys, before we go any further, we have such a lot to share,
Yeah.
right? So we're gonna delve into the topic, right? Our
Right.
topic, realities of GBV and domestic violence. So you now know a little bit about us, right, and how
Right.
we act when someone lies about us. So that was just a little bit of the icebreaker before we
Right.
delve into the. So my first question is, what is GBV? What is gender-based violence? So if you can just tell us what is it? How can you define it for us so we can know that when this happens to me, this is actually gender-based violence. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are so used to abuse
Right.
that they don't even know.
That's so true, eh?
Indeed so. Gender-based violence is not just the physical violence.
Right.
It can even be the threat of violence. I mean, in our homes, we have a situation many a times where the one party would say to the other party, if you don't do X, Y, Z, I will do this, that, and the other. That in itself amounts to what you call assault. Just the threat that you will do something alone amounts to assault.
That's scary, eh?
Yes, and then in addition thereto, you also get the elements of emotional, psychological abuse, obviously sexual as well, which I think we might go into or not, maybe at our next topic. But just to understand that psychological abuse is abuse. Economical abuse.
Yes.
For example, we are happy now, we have an arrangement and understanding between each other insofar as who takes care of certain things.
Right.
Let's make an example of a house. Husband pays the house or wife pays the house. Now you are angry with me. I have perhaps left the home because I couldn't handle the manner in which you speak to me or the manner in which you conduct yourselves in my presence, or also, in the
Yeah.
presence of the children. I'm unhappy. I'm taking a break. Oh, you decided to leave. Really? I
Yeah.
will not be paying the bond.
Right.
Economical abuse.
Abuse, yeah.
So
Wow.
I believe that love is unconditional.
Yeah.
Right.
If you love somebody,
Right.
whether
You're
your
gonna
child
go all out.
yes, has been disrespectful,
Yes.
or whether whatever the situation
Yeah.
is, you cannot withhold that which you have been doing.
Right.
Whilst we were
Yes.
happy.
Yes.
What does that make you? It makes you malicious.
Yeah.
It makes you unreasonable.
So there's different aspects to gender-based violence.
Indeed
It's not
so.
only a physical, it's, like you said, economical, cultural,
Spiritual?
spiritual abuse, yeah.
Okay.
Indeed so.
So we're actually saying that domestic violence is actually harm that is caused against or perpetrated against someone, a person, or a group of people. Am I right?
Indeed
It's,
so.
it's harm that is actually done against
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
Indeed so.
Right. So that we can say or define then as that is gender-based violence. If there's harm against you as an
Right.
individual,
Yeah.
as a person,
Yes.
right? So now I wanna delve in. We had such interesting topics or a conversation
Yeah.
before the show. I had a conversation with Diane in
Yeah.
certain aspects,
Yes.
what do you do? And I'm so passionate in the Christian circles, and that is why I said,
Yeah.
we must talk about this
Yes.
thing, because sometimes you find that you are so sincere in what you do as a pastor. You are so sincere in how you behave as a pastor. And we have this compassion, we have this love, because God is love,
Right.
And so we have this love. We say, and they say most, they say,
Yeah.
but where's the love? Where's the love in
Yeah.
it? So we are so filled with love. So we tend to greet everybody that comes our way. We hug.
Right.
Some of us, we
I
kiss.
love doing that.
You know what I'm
perhaps,
saying?
yeah.
We still hug and kiss. That's the greet. So now you find a malicious person with an agenda, right? A negative agenda, who actually wants to get to the pastor. Or I'm using this because I'm in the church circles.
Right.
So I'm using this as an example.
Yes, yes.
So I'm asking, so where do we draw the line there? You know, from a legal perspective, what do we say? How can we go about? Because in today's life, things are so difficult at the stage. Things with after COVID, you know, we don't hug. People tend to keep you.
At a
but in the
distance, yes.
church, it's we missed that thing.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now, with the laws, it's a different ball game. Because when I read through it, I was actually, it's a scary thing. So I want you to just enlighten us a little bit
Yes.
around that aspect.
Indeed, so it is in fact so that I think we are going to become very much isolated. Into, you know, where you can make a joke at times.
Yeah.
I think it's now going to become a situation where you can't even make a joke anymore.
Wow.
You know, like, let's say, for example, a male wants to say to a female in a jokey manner,
Yeah.
you kyk hoe lyk jou kuite.
Yeah.
Lê jy slaap buite.
Wow.
Sexual
Harassment.
harassment.
Wow.
You know, people have become so sensitive now.
Yes.
Or let's, for example, speak about, you know, your social media these days. You posting on your status and you're looking so, you know,
Hot.
sassy, and, you know, you think you're looking your best. And then you, next moment, you get a comment.
Yeah.
You're looking
Yeah.
sexy today. Hey. Maybe innocently.
Yeah.
It's a male. I feel offended. Criminal proceedings can be instituted against the next person. So, and I'm going to take it away from the sexual aspect now, but when we have relations, tomorrow the next person can run to the police station and say, well, out of self-revenge or motivated revenge against another person, I may be jealous of you. You know, my husband looked in that direction, or my boyfriend left me for you, etc.
Right.
Jealousy starts playing a role, and you become malicious, you become revengeful, and you run to the police station with some version which is obviously not the correct version. And next moment, the police is knocking on your door. We have received a complaint. You assaulted whomever. We understand that the person whom you assaulted has a relation with you, uncle, aunt, husband, whatever the case may be. Guess what happens? It's now deemed as domestic violence.
Wow.
Because the complainant, under the circumstances, you know, as soon as there is a relation established between the accused and the complainant, it will be under the Domestic Violence Act. And what does that mean? It means the moment domestic violence is established, whether it's just common assault, whether that charge is in fact true or not, you will be arrested and you will not receive police bail.
Wow.
And ultimately, you'll have to first appear in court. And if you are arrested on the Friday, you'll only see a court on Monday.
Wow.
And when you get to Monday, and
Because they don't ask any questions, right? When the officer comes to your house and knock on your door, they don't ask questions.
Wow.
absolutely not, because remember, they need to understand the version of the complainant. And if you possibly can convince the arresting officer that, you know, the version is completely wrong, then maybe they might listen to you.
Yeah.
And in other circumstances, they're just like, you know what, it's domestic violence, it's very serious in South Africa, etc.
Yeah.
You'll have to wait for your opportunity.
Right.
You need to get legal representation, appear in court. And chances are, if it is of a very violent nature, it could also potentially lead to it being deemed as a Schedule 5 offence, like murder,
Yeah.
meaning that you need to draft an affidavit to confirm and to convince the court to release you on bail. And what does that mean? It goes further than that. Because now a Schedule 5 requirements come into play, meaning you could potentially go to Sun City for 7 days until your bail hearing. And until the court, obviously affixes a date for you to apply for a bail. And that is what the new laws obviously, sparked insofar as this particular discussion is concerned, in that people need to know domestic violence is no longer just domestic violence. And even if the person comes to the court and says, you know what, I've thought about this, I want to withdraw the matter, the public prosecution can say, we're not interested.
Yeah.
We are prosecuting, whether you withdraw or not.
What led to this? The serious action that is, or this law that is in place right now?
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that it's so prevalent.
Yeah, it's true.
There's so many of
true.
these matters that are
Yes,
coming, forward.
Because with research, I saw on the 28th of January in 2022, Cyril Ramaphosa signed 3 new GBV laws.
Yes.
Right? Because there was an outcry from women and children. The violence escalated
Yes.
against women and children. And
Yes.
I with research, I saw that, wow, these laws that were put into place is now very serious.
Yes.
It's serious, and we actually want you to just bring some light on these laws. What's going on in the law per se? If I just push someone and say, no man, you're in my way. Do you want to tell me that person can go
That's an
open
assault?
up in a
Absolutely. Shoving, that is assault. Even, pointing or anything that gives you the impression that, the conduct is a little bit violent, or it could potentially lead to a violence, you are basically facing assault.
So now, where do you draw the line? Where do you, that's going to make a person feel
Paranoia
Yes, yeah.
is going to set in, absolutely.
Yes. And also some people who are malicious could actually take advantage of this.
Yes,
They can use
that's
this
true.
to
That's
get
true.
to one.
Yeah, to
Do you
people,
understand? To people. If you are a malicious person, you're just evil. You just don't have good intentions, then you can use this to your advantage to
Yeah, yeah.
disadvantage
That's
the
a
other
fact.
person,
That's
another
so true.
person that you don't like or you want to get to, so for me it's a very tricky, it's a very delicate,
It is, eh?
it's a
Indeed,
very
so.
delicate
It's
law.
very-
Yeah.
But it's a serious matter
Yeah.
because anybody can then go and. But I want you to come back to what we discussed earlier. I just thing in my mind. There's stats in South Africa, before we go further, there's stats in South Africa that reports that 50% of assaults against women are by someone
That they
close
know.
to them.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a scary
What
thing.
is it called? IPV, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, to answer that and to perhaps just comment on that, it is in fact so that in our homes we are supposed to feel safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you come
True.
from work, you're working an 8-hour plus, a few hours in traffic.
Yeah.
When you step into your house, are you not supposed to feel safe?
Yes, absolutely so.
Absolutely.
And I think we've lost, the fact that that is my safe environment.
Yes,
That
your
is
safe
my
space.
my safe space, my safe net and so forth. But we are finding now that violence and all this abuse is perpetrated against the vulnerable.
Wow.
A woman is vulnerable, let's be
Yeah,
honest.
that's
Yes.
true.
Yes.
We don't have the same
That's
built as a
true.
man,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that men is not open for abuse by women as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Because I've had a situation like that where psychologically a male person has been severely affected
Yes.
as a result of abuse in the marriage for many
Right.
years. But basically it hurts me. It pains me that children are being molested
Yes. Oh.
by the people whom they associate with in a family environment.
Yeah.
Whom they're supposed to trust,
Yeah.
Indeed so. So in other words, we are becoming so paranoid now
Yeah.
that you will not drop your child off at anyone's place.
No.
That's so true.
They will not sleep over. I mean,
Yes.
maybe we're going back to, the old way of doing things.
Yeah.
A girl is not allowed to sleep over, etc.
Yeah.
But even so, I mean, does that mean nobody must sleep over at your house as well? Because we're speaking of grooming, there's this whole issue of grooming, whether it's
Yes.
over social media or, in fact, what it basically boils down to, and I say this,
Yes.
you need to keep your children in a room with soundproof.
Yeah.
And nobody needs to get in there because everyone has become so vulnerable, and that has led to these laws. People are just not interested in understanding the importance of protecting women, children.
Yes.
Sure.
And they are the most vulnerable, the
people,
children,
yeah.
the younger ones.
The
And
mentally handicapped as
the-
well. It's
and-
extended to those particular people
Yes,
also.
yes,
I'm,
true,
for
yes.
example, blind or I'm deaf. I'm already struggling with emotional baggage in
Yes.
regards to
Yes,
that.
yes.
But now you still come and you see me vulnerable and you take
Wow.
advantage of
Of
me.
it, yes.
I mean, really,
That's
know,
true.
Yeah.
it's really painful.
Absolutely so.
it is.
Just to go into this, there's 13% of abuse. They say a relative or fellow household member, that's 13%. 15% an intimate partner or spouse. 22% friends or acquaintances. And that makes up the 50% of assault against women and children. That to me is a terrible thing. So I want us to come into a little bit of examples, right? Say for instance, you're in a divorce situation, right? And there is a agreement, a court agreement, if I may put it that way, that you can see the children over weekends as the male, and the children lives with the mum, right? And so now you are supposed to sell the house and split the proceeds, right?
Yes.
How do you, if the other partner, if either one, the male, no, don't follow through with the court order, what is the consequences of that?
All right. First and foremost, a court order is stamped, it's endorsed by a court, which means that you have to comply with it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to be in contempt of a court order.
Right.
Now, we're also sitting with situations whereby people have no respect for court orders and for the court anymore.
Wow.
Like, for example, you have a maintenance order, you're supposed to pay X amount every month, but come the 10th, that money's still not even in the bank account. Are you with me? I think there's a lack of respect towards these matters and obviously the
Yes.
court itself, but there is definitely recourse if that isn't complied with, because in a divorce situation, if you don't comply with the sales and the proceeds, then obviously there can be a liquidator appointed by way of application. And sometimes we even build in specific clauses to prevent the other party from being obstructive. I think we've got enough experience to know, suss out the individual we are dealing with. And then you can put protectory clauses in there. In the event that you obstruct in this particular way clause, this will come into play, that clause will come into play. And ultimately, a liquidator can be appointed.
Yeah.
The only sad reality of that is that now you have to pay a liquidator,
Yeah,
which means now
it's
the
a lot.
liquidator will swallow up any
Right.
proceeds that you will
yeah.
have, and then ultimately you get nothing out. So
Yeah.
I say people must stop being obstructive, stop being nonsensical.
Yes,
Look
yes.
at the situation, stare it in the face, reconcile yourself with what the position is, and move on. It's
Right.
best forgive, forget. It's hard.
Yes.
But, don't let situations like that stand in the way
Yes.
of your children being, suffering under those
Right.
circumstances. Look to those children, do the best that you can, to secure them and to get them the necessary therapy and help. And together, it's a very difficult and it's an ordeal. But
Now you see why I'm asking this, because there's a settlement and everything and blah 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 blah. Now in court there was a situation not so long ago of one of the sisters. I'm calling a sister because it's someone, it's a female.
Right.
So one of our sisters went to court. This was the thing, the
outcome.
agreement,
Okay.
and then the guy, the male, asked the judge whether he can still be in the house, live with the family in the house, but he was violent before, right? And that is why the girl is actually divorcing, because of the violence in the marriage. Why is it that sometimes I feel that our law there fails us as sisters, you know, due to the fact that this girl went home, the judge said to the guy, yes, he can. He can actually live with the family until he gets a place of his own. Well, that same evening from court, he already organized these things. He actually murdered her. And now her children, the one daughter apparently witnessed the murder.
So sad.
I think I know which case is being referred to.
Okay.
It sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Not so long ago.
Not so.
Yes.
Can I call it Christmas?
Yes.
That's right.
Let's call it the Christmas
That's
case.
right.
Yes, that is so extremely sad
Very,
to hear that,
very.
because I think what we need to touch on, considering that, is this: the moment any form of violence or anything happens in your home, it's very important to start a paper trail. If I am smacked today, I need to go to the doctor.
Right.
Doctor, I was slapped.
Yes.
J88.
Right.
You don't have to proceed with it.
Right.
Yeah.
You understand, but at least have a record.
Yeah.
Right.
Tomorrow something else happens. You've got a record. Oh, you still forgive him and everything else.
Right.
But your record paper trail is extremely important.
Yes.
And I think that is many times what happens, is that you forgive and you don't realize and know that I need to at least, go to the doctor every time this happens, speak to a professional, see a psychologist, see a psychiatrist, or whatever the case may be. They will then start interacting with you and starting your therapy. Ultimately, they can give a report,
Yeah.
although you haven't taken action. And at least, when it comes to a point where you reach the end of your tether, then you can say, well, you know what, this is not the first time.
Yeah.
I have forgiven over and over and over again.
Right.
And then you're building up, towards that particular situation where you might be forced in a position to open up a case, against whomever has violated your rights, etc.
right.
Yeah.
And ultimately what will then happen is nobody can doubt that you were, a victim of this
abuse,
heinous,
yeah.
crime of abuse.
Right. So tell me, sorry, you wanted to say something?
No.
Go ahead.
I'm just, this topic is so, I don't know.
Fascinating?
It's fascinating. It's, as I'm listening to her, I'm thinking of someone that I also know that kept record, but continued to stay with the person. And, I fear for that person's life. I don't even think that person fears for her own life, but I fear for her life.
Yeah, but I came to realize that a lot of women stay for security purposes.
Yes.
Economical abuse.
Economical
Economical.
reasons. Yes.
Indeed, so you will stay in that position if you are not independent,
Yes.
financially independent.
Yeah.
So many a times it's a situation of my husband has done everything all along.
Yes.
He told me, he was jealous, he was over possessive.
Right.
I left my job, he's always looked after my interests.
Yes.
My car has been paid, everything has been paid.
Yes.
And then comes that moment when you start realizing, you know what, I cannot handle this abuse anymore.
Yeah.
Because it happens. It's exactly why we are sitting in situations where there's sexual violence against children, because of, can I call it, sometimes it's the poverty-stricken ghettos we are in,
Yes.
which aggravate these social
Yes,
conditions.
yes.
But more importantly, the moment somebody else is on a level where they feel like, you know what, I'm in a financial position, it
control.
opens up, you to abuse,
Yeah.
and that controlling behavior, narcissistic,
Yes.
persons who are being controlling and abusive.
The other thing also in this particular person's situation is the fact that education is a major role in women's lives, in the lives of our women. That we need to, I think education is something that empowers us because
Yeah.
it gives you that independence.
Yeah.
When you have a good job, you can move on with your life, not always just easily so, but it just gives you that little edge.
Yeah.
But when you don't have that, you are stuck, you are paralyzed. You have to stay in this abusive environment because of the sake of your children. You cannot afford to pay your own rent, so you stay because he's paying the bond or he's paying the rent. So you are really immobilized. You're just there, and you take this abuse. You just,
Absolutely.
even if you know he has an affair, you turn a blind eye. You just, because you cannot move. Maybe your situation is of such that your parents are not. You don't have a supportive structure. You know.
Yeah.
Look, some people have that where you can at least move to your sister or a brother or. But the reality is, some people out there don't have that. They don't have that support
Indeed, so.
to move to somebody else's place.
Absolutely. No, that
And
is sad.
So it's such a vicious cycle that we, find ourselves in with this gender-based violence.
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation.
I read that South Africa is one of the most unsafest places for women.
Indeed, so. And can you imagine when you're listening to this particular topic and you think to yourself, I have a child. My
Yes.
child is at school. Is my child safe at school?
Yes.
Sometimes, you find that there's these, factors or people that enter the school,
Yeah.
and they can also take advantage. In the universities, we have this issue.
Yes.
Where
Oh my goodness.
our students,
Yes.
young students that are working towards their degrees and,
Yes.
some form of education, and they are basically sidetracked by being exposed to,
Yes.
people are taking advantage of our students
Absolutely.
So
from a
sad.
young age, from primary to high
Yeah.
school. So it's so important that we, educate
Yes.
our children from a young age.
Yes.
Speak about, I've had this recent topic, stranger danger type
Yeah.
of thing,
Yeah.
You don't realize that from a very young age, you need to now have this particular topic of discussion with your children.
Yeah.
It's scary. They're not supposed to know about what's happening in the world.
Absolutely so,
All
eh?
they need to know is that they come from school and they play. They're not pot plants you move around, that you have to, water every single, day and so forth and every hour. At the end of the day, these kids are so vulnerable.
Yeah.
I cannot begin to make anybody understand the dangers that are out there.
Yes.
And how you need to protect yourself and everyone else in your
Yes.
circle and your children. It is very sad.
It's very sad. It's
It is that we're living
absolutely
in-
very, very, very sad.
Society like this.
Yeah. So I actually want to go back to the people online here. Let's see. Someone says, so excited for this morning's topic, so ready to be educated on the subject and know how we can make a difference
Yes.
in our communities. That is from Micheline. Thank you so much. And then Andrea Jacob says, music, powerful topic. Okay. And then Lady J says, good morning, gorgeous ladies. Wow, so amazing. She says, my lawyer. Then Micheline says, yes, so true, Pastor Joan. We need to hear from a professional, and that is exactly why we got her in, right?
Right.
And then there's someone who says, Lorraine Stahl say, why do judges allow the abuser to still stay? Yeah, that's the thing that I've asked, right? Still stay in the same house during divorce proceedings. That is something that we, Diane actually mentioned,
Yeah.
have a paper trail.
Yeah.
So it is so important, and I believe in that.
Yeah.
Even when someone who is in a situation in the proceedings of toward
Yes.
divorce,
Yeah.
have things to show.
Yes.
I always tell guys, who comes to me and ask advice or ask for counseling or so, and then they say, you know, I give this woman such a lot of money. I pay every month, but every now and then she calls for this. So I said to them, have a paper trail.
Yeah.
Have your receipts.
Right.
Indeed, so.
That's good advice.
You know, have receipts.
Yeah.
I want to ask a very serious thing here. Before, I don't know whether it's related with GBV, but I think it is. What do you do with women that when a guy moved on, they withhold the children from the guy, or even if they're not married yet, right? So, isn't it the right of the guy to see his kids, the father of the
Absolutely.
children?
I
To see
cannot stand
can you
that,
can you just talk a little bit about that?
So sad.
He's very important. I think we've touched on the subject of malicious behavior.
Yeah.
No child should be without a father and a mother.
Yes.
Regardless of how bad you are as a mother and a father, there's always supervisory provisions that can be put in
Yes,
place.
yes.
But no child should be deprived
Yeah.
of a relationship with mother and father.
Yes.
In addition thereto, the clients that I defend insofar as that is concerned, whether it be a father, I always say parental alienation.
Yeah.
Are you going to pay the cost of the feelings of parental alienation that
Yeah.
that father must feel because you want to be vindictive?
Right.
You know, I always emphasize this. It's always what is in the best interest of the children.
Yes.
Not about who's a better person. Nobody
Yes.
is awesome and good.
Yes.
We all have our shortcomings.
Yeah.
We all, you know, are you know, sinful in nature, etc.
Yes, yes.
So if I am a particular way, it doesn't preclude me from having a relationship
Yes.
with my children.
Right.
Yes, I have to be in right standing and I need to
Yeah.
impart, you know, the right values and the principles into my child. But many a times we are unequal.
Yeah.
You know, your spiritual maturity versus the person you are with, spiritual maturity, is not always the same. And that is why we have arguments and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah, I think, you know, personally, if the parent, the father, in a situation is psychologically not well, then obviously it would be in the best interest of the child if the children are not, you know, if they don't see their father, or if it's like you said, under parental supervision.
Indeed. So.
But in general, you know, my own father grew up without a father, and you know, when he was like an adult, him and his sister went to look for their father. So I don't think we realize how important our fathers is in our society as well.
And the detriment that you actually bring to the child, you know.
Yes.
That child will always
Always
wonder,
have that sense
who's
of,
my father?
who's my father? Where do I come
Yeah.
from? You know?
And the anxiety starts kicking in, and you know,
Yes.
depression with children.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, I'm seeing children at the age of 11
Yes.
that are becoming depressed. People going through divorce. It's so
Absolutely.
difficult. Psychological, you know, mental disorders kick in as a
Yeah.
result of the trauma
Right.
that, you know, you are facing, all because, you know, you can't come to an agreement. You can't do it expeditiously and with
Yes.
a minimum amount of, you know, hurt and trauma.
Right.
And then everybody ultimately suffers.
Yes.
The children suffer.
Yeah.
Mom suffers. Dad suffers. And you know what? Court should be a last resort.
Yeah.
We have not been, you know, reared up in a way that everything we're taking to court. And I want to make a very important, you know, point here regarding that is to say, remember, the courts are filled with so many matters.
Yeah, true.
Are we not supposed to try and
Yeah,
assist
yeah,
the court and
yeah,
only let
yeah.
the matters which
Yeah.
are in absolute need of attention
Yes.
go to court, where you really can't,
Yeah.
you know, you're so much at loggerheads with each other that you can't get to the point of, you know, finalizing it.
Yeah.
Let us leave the urgent and the serious matters for court, but let us as a people
Yeah.
sit down, discuss.
Yes.
And let's do it, you know, amicably.
Yes.
Yeah, but what do you do in a case of substance abuse when one of the partners maybe are on substance? What I'm talking on substance here
Yeah.
is on drugs. So what do you do with regards to that from a law perspective?
Okay, from a law perspective, I would answer the question as follows. When it comes to abuse, it just depends on whether that abuse is against the child or not. If I'm using substance, etc., and I may be functional or dysfunctional, remember we get functional and we get very much dysfunctional. The fact of the matter is, it shouldn't hinder you from seeing your child. What I can say is, while you're on substance, I need you to go for the necessary testing, alcohol or whatever, but supervised until you show to me that you are clean.
Yeah.
Right.
That is how it operates. You can't just say, you can't just scream, oh, substance abuse, I'm not sending the children. No. You need to approach the court.
Right.
And you need to be with clean hands before the court and say, look, court, I'm approaching you. I'm asking for supervised access on this following basis. I want this person to go for testing. And if it is ultimately found that you lied about it, because you know what, now everybody screams substance abuse, you will be malicious, you'll be vexatious, and you could face a cost order against you if you run to court maliciously.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Same with a criminal.
Yeah.
You say I slapped you, I didn't slap you. You're going to face a lawsuit of malicious prosecution, and the state is going to face a case of, prosecution, which was obviously unlawful.
Yeah.
My detention may have been unlawful, and there's a lot of money that can be made from that, as well as you as the victim.
Yes.
Because ultimately, you're going to take these people to task, and you're going to receive monetary relief for what you have gone through.
Yeah.
But nobody should be going through that.
Yeah.
I think we are grown already.
Yes.
And we should really do the right thing.
Right.
Right, awesome. I want to now change a little. What can you pinpoint or enlighten us on with the new laws of South Africa with regards to GBV?
Basically, just to first and foremost, maybe just delve into the topic of why am I staying with a person. There's no need for you to stay with a person who's violent. You can either ask that person to leave the house, or if you are going to institute any criminal proceedings or whatever, there is absolutely no way that the person who is abusing another can return to the house.
Yeah.
If you open up a case of assault or whatever the case may be, then the court will put certain measures in place and say, to release you on bail, you may not have contact with the victim. You may not return to that particular house. Find yourself other accommodation, and that is where you need to provide me with that address as well, but you cannot return back home.
Okay.
And it is unfortunate that, I've heard of a magistrate.
So is that a restraining order?
Yes, so basically under the criminal processes, you can open up a case, and one of the terms of your release would be that you cannot return to the home where the conduct, obviously, is complained
really?
of. Yes, so that is a general rule, that you cannot return to the home. If I accuse the next person of assault, you may not return back home. Unless obviously it's settled and everything else, and it's maybe mediated or whatever the case may be. But until then, you may not go back home if there's a criminal case opened. In addition to, you can also go to the domestic violence court and say, listen, this is what I'm experiencing. This is the type of abuse, that I'm faced with in my home. I want an order. It will be an interim order. And the court will assess it and say, yes, I'm granting an interim order. This person may not do X, Y, Z until the return date of court. And you can obviously, if you feel like that is not correct, you can always, as a respondent, apply that the court date be expedited and bring your case forward quickly. But ultimately, if there's no interim order granted, it will say notice to show just cause on a date. And then there's no interim order because maybe what you've stated in your particulars has not been, serious enough to warrant an interim order.
Right.
But if there's an interim order, that person may not. Otherwise, a warrant of arrest will kick in.
Wow.
If there's imminent danger.
Right.
Okay.
So I'll get into that imminent danger issue if obviously there's still enough time allowed.
Yeah.
But other than that, we'll probably take it further in our next
Yeah.
discussions.
Yeah. Okay.
Very,
So, and
very
then
interesting.
I wanted to ask. I wanna sketch a scenario. What can a woman do? This is a real story. It's a story that happened to one of our staff members. She was standing in a queue in the mall, standing in a queue to at Checkers or Pick and Pay, whatever. But standing in the line, wanting to pay now and blah blah blah. And there's two guys, right, who's making racist remarks toward her in his language and sexual comments of how they can make her their colored girl. So the girl on the till asked her, she heard a few in the language, but didn't really get the full sense of the story, what they're talking about. But they're looking at her and
Like she's a piece
know,
of meat.
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the lady on the till said to her, do you know what they're saying? They're talking about, because the lady on the till then replied to the guys and said to them, listen, don't come with blah, blah, blah. But actually, this is what happened then. They carried on and, what could she do in a situation like that? Because these are two guys. She's alone as a woman, a female, in the mall, right? Another scenario, I'm going to give you two. I'm in the mall with my daughter, right? I'm not going to mention the mall for in case, I see this guy follow us in every store that we go into. And I say to my daughter, did you watch that guy? That guy is following us. And this guy, when we came out, I actually spoke. I said, excuse me? So, but no reply, no nothing. He's still following us.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Until I took out my phone and I actually called my husband to say, hey, I don't know, here's a guy following me, following myself and my daughter. But what do you do in cases like those? Where do you draw the line? What do you do?
I always say, if you feel in danger, whether it's in your own home or outside, the first point of call is always the police. SAPS, emergency. And you immediately report it because you'll get a reference number for what you report. In addition thereto, I know that things happen very fast and so forth. But if you are in a mall, in a shop, etc., there's securities at the door. There's also management. There is center management of that particular mall that you can approach to discuss what happened. You can go to the police station thereafter and make an affidavit and ask an affidavit by the cashier and so forth, so that there can be an investigation into those particular individuals. Remember, there are cameras all over.
Even if you don't know them.
Even if you don't know them.
Not.
Exactly.
Okay.
Every store these days has got cameras. The malls have cameras, and maybe an investigation into that can be had by the investigating officer that will be assigned to that particular report or that case that you open. They will then go to center management and everywhere else in order to obtain the footage, send it to their forensic departments in order to confirm the veracity, etc. Speak and have a conversation with the teller.
So with my staff member, was that a sexual assault?
Harassment.
Or harassment? What do you call it?
Indeed. So look, there is obviously a bit of a language barrier, but if it is established that in fact somebody can vet to say that particular words, because it will be regarding what was uttered, the gestures, the this and that, coming to the knowledge of that with which they were talking about and about me, you'd obviously become fearful, you'd become intimidated by that. And even though there's no established relationship between you and the person, there's always the harassment as well, the intimidation part of the law that you can invoke, because although you don't have a relationship, there's a harassment act. If anybody harasses me, tries to intimidate me, we attorneys also sometimes do get harassed and intimidated because they don't like the manner in which we're doing our matters and to the best and without fear and without favor. So even us can become vulnerable to that particular abuse, and the person on the other side don't like the manner in which I'm winning cases and they will come after me, etc. Nobody's above the law. And many people are very, very much brave and courageous these days to perpetrate all these acts against, the next person. And now at least, and I will get into that as well, with the new laws coming into play, and I think we'll get into the sexual aspect of it as well, but now you're going to be blacklisted as a sexual offender. So if you are a perpetrator of that, ultimately how are you going to find work? Because you're going to be listed. The moment there's a complaint, you're going to be listed. Which will hamper your job opportunities.
You know what? Now that you're mentioning that means that even our sons, our guys, when they dating, make sure that she said yes before you force yourself on someone. Yeah.
And maybe there's not even force, maybe it's consensual, and tomorrow
she
turns around and says,
she cries, you raped her, and then you're a decent young man, you're coming from a decent home. So we need to also teach, make our young people aware of these dangers.
So because I saw there's a list now, there's a list
list of offenders, yes, indeed. So I know that many children's courts that I always used to frequent, the moment there's not these are not uniformed yet. It's not a uniformal approach to everything. But I like the specific approach of a specific court. That when you start applying for rights to your child, the first form they make you fill in goes to a department to confirm that there is no criminal proceedings against you for any sexual impropriety or, any related conduct against you because of the vulnerability of children. You don't want to expose your child to some, pedophilic, tendencies or whatever the case may be. So you literally, when you want access to your child, etc., those are going to become very serious factors to consider. In that, that could hamper you to see your child unsupervised, and then supervisory provisions will come into play because of children being so vulnerable.
Right. You actually also said the other day that even when parents have a quarrel at home, when they violent at home, and the child is actually exposed to it,
domestic violence. A child in need of care and protection.
Wow.
That is so serious in the sense that you cannot understand the emotional turmoil. Remember, a child is not equipped. They do not have the coping mechanisms to deal with mom and dad at each other's throats, at loggerheads with each other. It has a psychological, emotional impact on those children. And that is why the laws are written in the fashion that it has. If you are fighting constantly in your home, that child can be removed from your household.
So what you're saying is that the child can actually divorce their parents?
Indeed so, because if both parties are in loggerheads and you're not ensuring that your child is protected from that forms of violence and abuse and verbal abuse, whatever you want to call it, then the child will become a child in need of care and protection.
Wow.
And anybody can go to a court and say, well, this child is now in need of care and protection. And I've seen how emotional abuse and physical and violent abuse has such a terrible impact on children itself, leading them to go and see a psychologist. I want to make a very quick example. I had a matter that I was involved in, and it was a body corporate situation. They were staying in a particular complex, and we just had a very difficult trustee of the body corporate, which led to this child's pet being removed out of just malicious conduct. That child suffered so much psychologically that we ended up in court after court after court. And it was determined that there was harassment in the sense that you switch the lights off. You don't understand the impact of that because mommy's suffering, the child suffers. We always say this. Just remember, what you go through as a parent rubs off on your children.
Definitely.
If you are hurt, your children are hurt.
Yes, they're very sensitive.
And I hate this where parents, and I'm sorry to use the word hate, maybe I become very passionate about this. But I cannot handle it when the one party says to the other party, you're so terrible. ridicule and this in front of the children.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow you're no longer together and you start saying, your mom is such a, your father is such a.
Right.
Remember, that child is half you and half mom,
Yes.
half mom and half dad.
Right.
So you are saying to the child, half of you is bad.
Right.
Sure.
Yes.
Parents must
Wow.
stop
So
that.
true. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Ooh, that's a very. We came to the end of our show,
Oh, my
and I
word.
still wanted to ask a question. But as we are closing right now, I just want you to give me 2 red flags that we have to watch out for in the church circles.
With our new laws, it's
Yeah.
so bad. Like,
Yeah.
I almost feel as if I should say this, and it's not even, maybe it's a difficult one. Can you have relations, whether it's a friendship or anything else?
Yeah.
Because our society, I don't know why people are so sensitive. Like, you are developing a relationship with I'm a female and a male. My husband could get jealous. My boyfriend could get jealous, It's as if everything should just be like professional.
Yeah.
Like, there can be no hand gestures. That we can't hug each other anymore because tomorrow someone will come and, maybe there's a mental disorder that affects what
Yeah.
they are doing or whatever. And tomorrow they just scream this, that, and the other. So now it's sad,
Yeah.
I think we need to have more discussions regarding this,
Yeah.
etc. But it's almost like we must now stay away from people. Like COVID said,
Right.
we must stay at our
Right.
homes and just,
Right.
and now we're getting into that of, the laws are now forcing
Yeah.
us not to have any relationship
Yeah.
with people, which is sad and which is wrong.
Yeah, but can you use it then in court if something like that occurs, where someone you hugged and kissed someone from the opposite sex, just as an agreed, ons soen groet,
Natuurlijk.
right? so
Ek weet nou nie so van die soen
can
nie, maar
you
die
use
hugs.
that in court, as defending yourself that this is how we do it? Or will the law stand against you,
It's always-
irrespective of?
Yeah.
Yes, because the thing is, the sad reality is the party on the opposite end. If they feel like, this is now a complaint, I'm complaining,
Yeah.
then obviously it will be on that
Yeah.
person's side insofar as how that person felt. But like I said, and I think Sister Violet de Beer now just mentioned it and she touched on that topic of consent.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is these days, with our laws. You started off now, laws is
How
so...
do you ask consent?
What is the natural approach now? Are we hugging? Are we kissing? Are we handshaking and all that?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's boiled down to that now.
Right.
Because
Right.
okay, may I sit at the table with you?
Yeah,
Is there going to be harassment or anything? It's like that now.
Sure, but it's becoming bad.
It's
But
bad.
nevertheless, our last comments to you, Vi, and then to Diane, and then we're going to kiss and say goodbye because we're over our time.
Yes, this was such a needed topic. It's such an interesting topic, and a topic that's very dear and close to my heart. And I believe that women should, personally, this is my last few words, just of encouragement. Empower yourself, please. Just value yourself. Just have that respect for yourself. That you're not going to tolerate any abuse. If he gives you that first clap, man, please let the red flags go on and do something about it. Talk to someone about it or report the person, but don't tolerate any type of form of abuse. And then to the men that's listening, I think men have anger issues and they should work on the anger issues.
But I want to reverse that too. I want to say there are also men who gets abused by
Yes,
their
by
women,
their women.
by women
Yes,
too. So
yeah.
it can be vice versa.
Definitely.
You know what
Indeed,
I'm saying?
I think it's just
it's
more
just
common
yeah,
that
in women.
that
A lot of men don't talk out though.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
men feel that that's a weakness.
Right.
And it's not a weakness.
Yeah.
You have to actually talk
Yes.
so that you can get some sort of
Yeah.
help.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Even the
Yes.
both of you can get
Yeah,
help somewhere
definitely.
because there is help out there. There's
Absolutely.
a help out there. If you scream,
Yes.
if you're drowning, scream so that the
Yes.
lifesaver can save you.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to say.
Indeed. So I like that. It's really, it is such that, you shouldn't tolerate.
Yes.
However, one also believes in the sanctity of marriage. The two of you have come together, you loved each other and so forth.
true.
And love is unconditional.
Absolutely.
You need to try everything in your power in order to
Yes.
save.
Yes.
But if you really see that there's no change, then obviously
Yes.
you have to go to the next step.
Yeah.
But it's very important. We are in a situation where two imperfect beings are getting together. And you both, might need a lot of guidance and a lot of, look to our pastors. We look to them. We look to our
Yes.
elderly
Yes.
who have, been able to be married until death do us
Yes.
part.
Amen.
So it's very important that we just look at, those people that we can look
Yeah.
up to. And please, we need to, find the help if there's an issue, especially now that the laws are so stringent and so strict. If you have an anger issue, go. There's
Yeah.
anger management courses.
Right.
Okay, there's just one comment. Always hear about paper trail. I know someone who did the paper trail, but it backfired. They were told they planned the scenario based on having a detailed trail. What amount of evidence then?
Wow.
I say if you have a paper trail, like I said, you're going to go to the doctor. Surely the doctor will come to testify. You can't
Yeah.
say that, oh, my hand was bruised and there's no evidence of the
Yeah,
bruise. You
yeah,
understand?
yeah.
Surely that is the very purpose of a J88. Keep it in a safe or give it to somebody who's responsible that you confide in as your confidant,
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, I don't think that paper trail can ultimately lie. If I was, beaten so badly and I have a bruised, eye or whatever, or, a blue eye, you're obviously going to take a photo of it. You're going to make sure
Yes,
that the
definitely,
date
yeah.
is comes out in the
Yes.
photo. There's many internet cafes that can help you with that.
And you have your JD, right?
Yes, and you've got a doctor
Form,
to testify
yeah.
that, the person is sitting in front of me. Yes, there was a blue eye and they documented, and that doctor can be called for expert testimony
Absolutely, yeah.
ultimately. So, yeah.
Okay.
Unless you're
Right.
creator of all of us. And then, I'm sure you can't create the fact that,
Yeah.
No.
that you employ a
That- yes,
doctor to
that's
confirm.
right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we came to the end of the show. So sad, but yeah, there's such a lot of things that we still wanted to
Yes.
actually talk about. But nevertheless, Diane, if someone needs to get a hold of you, will you be able to give your number online or?
Absolutely. I'm always, open to that. I think if one looks on Facebook, I am on Facebook.
Right.
You can find me on TikTok.
Oh,
surprisingly so.
Yeah.
But my telephone number, I always give myself a number because I like, to keep my clients very close to me.
Okay.
It's 072 378 0482. That's the number that I can provide.
Right.
You'll find it on Facebook. You'll find it all over the internet, even on Google Maps. That cell phone number will be displayed. If you type in on your Google Maps, Diane Peters Attorneys, my address, and as well as that particular cell phone number will come on. My email address is dp, as in D for Diamond, P for Pink, at dianepetersattorneys.co.za. You can definitely send me an email.
Awesome. Wonderful. And our producer will actually also just put it in. So if you go to the Inside Show of today, you will find it there too. So yes, we came to the end of the show. You know that we love you, but God loves you best. So go in the peace of the Lord. Mwah.
As I look upon my life, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams. As I look upon my life, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams.